Что-то можно говорить?
Тоже можно.
Okay.
Ну, подождите.
Full screen? All good? With the screen? All good with the screen? So is it good or not? Alexander. Good? Okay. Okay. Hello and welcome to our Thursday community sessions with merchants. On Wednesday we have agencies, Thursday merchants, and Fridays are with Alfred. It's all about technology and development. So Fridays are for developers. Today, I will answer the most popular questions that merchants are asking us. What is PWA? What is ScandiPWA in particular, specifically? Okay, we like this technology, we like this tool, we like this product. How can we find a partner? How we can get it running for our store? And how to make it in a most cost-efficient manner. And then we'll have time for questions and answers and a brief intro of the case study that has been recently launched on ScandiPWA. So let's start with the first. What is PWA? What is Progressive Web App for e-commerce? Progressive Web App, it concerns a new data transport in the internet. A usual data transport is an HTML page. You are clicking something and then sending a request to server, give me this category. Server thinks, okay, this category, ID this, okay, let me look up the products, okay, I have 77 products, okay, let me look up the setting, it's 16 products per page, here are the first 16 products. Let me render them in HTML and then send back to you. The same happens with every other customer. So server is quite busy. Well, of course there is varnish usually in front of, in between of server and customer. So varnish is caching this HTML, so server is not so busy and database is not so busy with processes of figuring out what products are there and what are their prices. We are serving cached content, but still, this content is heavy. Every time people are requesting something from your store, we are sending them heavy HTML template. To put it in perspective, how can it be different? It can be different, and also many years you are doing this with your mobile apps. Mobile apps, when you open them, like if you open a catalog of e-commerce app and request a category, you are not requesting an HTML template. You're only requesting data. What is data? The data is URL of the image, title of the product, price, maybe label. So developers call it JSON. We less tech people, we might think about it as an XML or some comma-separated file. But we are not transporting any pieces of template or layout, just pure data. So how user sees it in the layout, because we have invested so much money into making this layout awesome. The layout in the world of mobile apps is being downloaded when you hit download in the Play Store or App Store. So you immediately getting the layout system, and then you are requesting the data, it's injected in layout, and then you see it on your screen. The same process happens in Progressive Web App, with an exception that you don't need to go to an App Store or Play Store. You open a conventional URL in your browser, and then browser is downloading this app called PWA in your local storage. Single page app, it may take a few seconds, but you will get a code base that contains all of your layouts, from homepage to category page, product page, checkout, car, CMS pages, customer account, whatever you need for your store. Once and forever. Well, till you update it, of course. It means that next, your users need only small bits of data to be requested by this app, to be returned by your server, and to be injected in the template. And then, boom, the page is rendered on the device. Of course, the device should be relatively modern, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 years old at least, because instead of server being busy with rendering the page, now your device is. It is called server-side rendering versus client-side rendering. Specifically, client-side rendering technology and the data transport component behind it enables PWA projects to be extremely performant, because they're transporting, they're requesting, and they're receiving maybe 10 times less traffic, less size, smaller size of the data package than a usual traditional web. Our traditional web has been invented in the last century. Well, it is the first iteration, and PWA is probably second. I personally believe that that PWA is the next standard for internet, because we dramatically reduce the amount of traffic that we need to consume to get things to our screens. So one thing why PWA matters, why everybody's talking about, is because of performance. Another is user experience. Another thing also that's coming from the world of mobile apps is an advanced, evolved user experience. Instead of using a conventional browser that also is built like on paradigm of the first internet, we are using reactive tools, React, Vue, anything else that helps to decouple design from data and bring advanced user experience effects and transitions. Of course, native apps, they are directly tapping into rendering abilities of the native system, while we are still using capabilities of the browsers that have advanced dramatically. Entire PWA movement has been possible only because the browsers has advanced and started to support such thing as a service worker and local storage and indexing. But I will probably leave it for either question and answer section if you would be interested in these technicalities, or on Friday Alfred's or agency session on Wednesday, because we don't want to overload merchants with service workers, index DBs, and local cache storage. What matters is that there is a new, and when I tell you, you can think about a metaphor of responsive web. It appeared thanks to media queries, so there was a moderate or small innovation in the area of the web, and this innovation allowed us to serve different layouts, mobile optimized layouts based on the breakpoints. It was pretty well received, but it took time and effort till merchants adapted responsive and developers adapted responsive as well. Progressive web app is similar in a way because it's based on new tech affordances. So tech is enabling us doing new things, but it will take time for developers, agencies, merchants to understand this technology and adapt it. Progressive web app is not a new programming language. It's an amalgamation. It's of languages and libraries like React, Redux, GraphQL as a data transport from backend to frontend. But all of this enables us to, through certain learning curve, just like with responsive, but eventually It will be there. And we are here to help you to be the first, to be ahead of the pack, to serve your customers much faster, much more engaging e-commerce storefronts on Magento specifically. We focus on one platform exclusively. And we see some merchants on other platforms looking actually into migrating to Magento due to ScandiPWA storefront that is considered by them probably the best in class out there. Well, to summarize the question about what is PWA and why everybody's talking about it, why everybody's talking, there is certain hype because big brands and Google are reporting huge conversion rate increase on mobile for PWA adopters. Merchants are suffering from mobile gap. Mobile visitors peak, but conversion rate is lower. So people are leaving desktops, they're going mobile, but they're not converting. They're probably converting somewhere else where the storefront is mobile first. So that's primarily the reason. And well, what is PWA? Well, it's a certain technological setup involving, well, taking advantage of advances in browsers and certain technologies like React, Vue, and GraphQL in order to deliver content to your customers faster and engage them with your stores through a more modern look and feel, so more modern user experience. So, put it very simply, it's like mobile apps, but delivered through browser in few seconds. And they don't need any update or upgrade. So you can think about this as like PWA is like a mobile app that you don't need to have a separate team to maintain. It works as fast, as fluid, and has the same affordances like camera access, gallery access, location, notification, home screen installation, and to some extent local storage. So the pages, the images you have seen once, they're available in offline mode. So let's move to the second question. So you probably came here already knowing something about PWA, so it was just a fast recap. And our next question is, what is ScandiPWA in particular? Because this is ScandiPWA community session for merchants. ScandiPWA is a PWA theme bringing all of the mentioned advantages of growth in conversion rate, engagement, performance, push notifications, same code base for web, mobile, for Android and iOS for Magento merchants. ScandiPWA is a product, well, for Magento, just like one-step checkout or a theme you can find in Theme Forest. It is, however, more advanced in terms of adoption. So while you can easily set up a theme without any advanced support from your developers, and you can set up some extensions also right in the extension setup wizard, PWAs will require some manual effort, well, unless you use our cloud solution. If you want to play with our cloud solution, just send an email to hello@ScandiPWA and tell a subdomain that you want to use, and we will send you back a ready-to-go ScandiPWA theme running on top of Magento open source. So ScandiPWA is a theme. It simply put, it is Magento frontend rewritten in React, and all the data is served there instead of conventional resource models or some other ways how Magento delivers you data or how you request it. All the data is getting there through single interface of GraphQL. GraphQL, as they call it, the API on steroids. It's faster than API. it's in, well, just not to go into technicalities, that okay, you can request granularly some data without loading the whole object and so on. So that's something introduced by Magento. This awesome affordance now of the platform, you can get all your data in GraphQL. The same is available in Shopify, for example, because nowadays e-commerce platforms are increasingly allowing their users, their merchants, to get the data on any device, or be it like smart mirror or PWA storefront, through GraphQL. So it's like an industry standard nowadays. So we take advantage of GraphQL endpoints and reactive frontend. So it was about 1+ year effort and commitment to rewrite all the features like simple product, configurable, my account, reviews, multi-store, multi-language, currency, all the promotions, and make sure that all the backend settings, like you want to restrict certain countries, so you want to put images in this order, or you want to add this attribute to layered navigation, and you want particular this attribute to be on top and this on the bottom. So you got used to set these things up in Magento backend, and we make sure that majority of this and each of these features is described, and what is available, what is still requiring some manual action is described in a ScandiPWA user guide. So you know exactly what to expect when you have ScandiPWA installed for your store. Because PWA is still in its infancy, and sometimes we just look, wow, it works so fast. It's wow, I want it. But what about 3.1 redirects? What about SEO? What about bots who generally cannot index client-side rendered site? Because instead of your server working for them and delivering them page, now they have to spend their resources on rendering your page on their devices. So it either works with delay, with a limited, rendering budget, or you have to have a server-side rendering solution. That is generally not an issue unless you run a store that has more than 1 million URLs indexed, and your load from the bots is about 15 to 20 requests per second. So then you really need to look for some advanced solution. It's will be highlighted further in technology based on advances in browsers and languages. Then ScandiPWA is an instance of PWA future taken in Magento ecosystem. It's an open source, so it allows any Magento merchant, any developer to get as creative as possible and to deliver amazing advances in user experience without having large teams. It didn't took us like a large team within this year to write everything in React, and you need just to customize it. So it's pretty lightweight. A usual estimate for progressive web app for enterprise was like, okay, it starts with 500,000, and still it's just start, and then you need to see what you need to tweak to make it work for you. ScandiPWA, by being available as an open source, is saving a lot of money and effort for any merchant who is willing to take it as a front end for their store. Because the collective effort of the community who has been contributing the features and the core team is available for you out of the box, just like Magento community. So it's the same setup. And those merchants who are running commerce editions or commerce in the cloud, they have the same setup that will be released this February with code snippets and installation instructions of how you can set it up in Magento Commerce Cloud and also on premise. So with this, I hope we'll answer the second question. What is ScandiPWA? ScandiPWA is so far the first, I think, and the only complete PWA theme for Magento. that allows you to use all the conventional backend features and see how the settings are propagated on the front end. There is another useful thing that if you are a bit advanced Magento merchant, that you know, okay, we need to run varnish to make sure our store is fast, because Magento as such is quite resource intensive system, so all non-cached requests are taking like a second, 2, 3, or up to 5. So how does it work? So is GraphQL so magical that you can serve anything in milliseconds? Well, it's not. It's not. It works, I would say, pretty close to standard Magento requests for data. So inevitably we need to cache. But what? Because Varnish is caching response, HTML response. So we made certain arrangements using persistent query algorithm, quite heavily used by Facebook, to make sure that we are caching data. So your customers, once requesting a data from your Magento database, they will receive it, and then we store it in Varnish. And the beauty of it is that, first of all, Varnish is supported by Fastly, because Fastly is Varnish-based CDN. So all responses of your store can be propagated across all Fastly points of presence and then served close to instantly. And second, that it taps into default Magento cache management extension that operates 6 stacks. So whenever some product, price, image, category is affected, just a second. Whenever something is affected, this X-tag is immediately sending a request to invalidate this part of the cache. So we are not serving outdated cache, and it works in the same setup, in the same harmony of ensuring data consistency, just like a traditional Magento. So ScandiPWA is not only PWA standard that brings this thought after benefits, but it plays very well with Magento. It is made for Magento. It is made by a team who is now working with Magento with more than 10 years. I think we have made more than 1,000 projects from really small to working on projects for automotive, the biggest retail chains, and fashion brands. Number 3. Okay, it seems I'm ready to try. Who will help me? ScandiPWA does not provide development services. It does provide consultancy, quality assurance, health check, architectural, setup, code review. Well, we'll do our best to help your partner or your development team to take the most out of PWA promise. However, there is a shortage of React specialists in Magento ecosystem, so a merchant who is willing to go PWA way, and well, as we see those who are planning a major change and planning for the next 2, 3, or up to 5 years, they're definitely going mobile first, and they are looking for a modern storefront, React-based storefront. Then you need React developers. Then we invite you to check our partners section that already has a few dozen of partners who have experience with ScandiPWA and React. Reach out to us personally. We can suggest you the best one in your region or by the type of your project. we can do an approximate estimate or consultancy, but we suggest you to find a dedicated partner, and we are also happy to go in pair, providing them consultants and hands-on support in making sure that their solution is perfect and it's really performant and is aiming and getting the goals, the business goals that PWAs are supposed to bring. What else? What are so we're wondering okay, who is already on PWA? Apart from the top brands like Forbes, Twitter, Starbucks, Flipkart, India, and Amazon, they have been pioneering this technology on the large-scale project. The largest project currently live on PWA is Technodom.kz. That's a leading mid-Asian retailer of electronics and home appliances. And this implementation has been done by ScandiPWA, and it really puts a solution for test. They have 35 stores and Magento stores and 60,000 products, so it efficiently brings all the catalog like up to 2 million SKUs and 15,000 attributes on Magento. 15,000 attributes. They have 87 offline stores, and the site, their e-commerce solution, is showing real-time stocks per store. So there is a huge updates going on. There are new products, category managers are adding products, updating descriptions, changing prices, promotions. Each offline store is reporting a change in stock whenever something is sold, because it's omnichannel. We want to know what's going on in the stores. The same is happening in the warehouse. So reindexing is running all the time, and cache is being invalidated. But even with this, I would say extremely active data update, we have 90 cache hit ratio. So it helps us to serve 90% of the users the pages in milliseconds, because varnish response time is 30 milliseconds, and then it's just traffic. And this store is the solution is hosted on premise, so it works best within their country currently. It's 1 billion. It's almost 1 billion revenue company, and online channel apportions about a quarter to it. So the question we get, like, how did they dare to go, like, to be the first? Well, they have been planning for a major expansion in the region and converting their front end potentially to marketplace. So it was very, calculated risk that if you plan for the next 5 years, and you need to have a solid foundation for further growth. I would say we had very successful case because the team spent relatively little time on implementation, because all the features like multi-store, they also have 2 currencies, 2 languages. It is already available out of the box. So different websites, MSI support. You don't need to do it again. It's available just like in default Magento. And for this scale of enterprises, it's important to maintain data integrity. So we cannot afford having several sources of truth. We have just one Magento database, and then a conventional caching solution. But instead of template, we are caching data from this template. So it ran very predictably. So all pricing updates, all major price updates, when you update 10,000 products or entire catalog, major data import has been running perfectly and consistently. So what we expected to see on the front end has been propagated and updated. The same with orders and add to cart. We are adding, so when ScandiPWA theme, you add a product to cart, it starts talking to Magento, checking the quote availability, and creates an entry in the database. So we're not just storing it locally and then trying to synchronize with the backend, because there is a risk that it will go out of sync on the large volumes. And large volumes, this case has experienced a Black Friday on ScandiPWA with a tremendous success. It has been stress tested up to 500 requests per second, including placing orders, adding to cart, registration, logins, well, and just browsing as well, both from cached content, from cached data, and non-cached. So it was a great confirmation for ScandiPWA teams that we are extremely compatible with enterprise grade and challenge projects. The biggest challenge, I would say, was making sure that the bots can read your site, because suggested server-side rendering solutions are simply not working at this scale of up to 20 requests or 25 requests per second. So we had to build a solution on Golang to enable simultaneous workers, concurrent jobs, to serve bots the information they were looking for. As reported, I think the first Meet Magento we went with this case is in India, just recently, a few weeks ago, and as reported there, the conversion rate increased by 24.9%. It's a huge result for an enterprise, and smaller companies, we see they increasing their conversion 3-5 times, so 300-500%. Well, of course, usually PWAs are coupled with redesign, because you are rebuilding entire front end, so it's good to update, to make a study of what works and how you can improve your conversions with design changes. So of course, not everything can be attributed to PWA, but it definitely, when we see that the average time on site, number of pages checked through the user session, and number of sessions is increasing, then we see that PWA drives engagement. Okay, so that's a case in short. So what are so we have one question: do you plan providing, for example, 2 or 3 base themes, paid or not? So currently we have limited customization options. Right in the backend, you can change color palette, so the buttons, highlights, borders, primary, secondary colors can be changed. Well, then you can of course change your logo, and you have your own promo blocks, and generally it makes shops incomparably different. About different themes, this month we expect to launch a marketplace and provide a community with an extension mechanism. So we expect themes to be part of it. So just like Magento themes who are being developed by agency or extension providers and available for a fee, there will be the same approach in ScandiPWA. We want to involve more parties in building a rich palette of choice available for merchants for you. So we don't want to, we possibly will create like a reference extension, a reference theme, but we see interest by some extension providers that, okay, we want to create a single product store theme for you. So when it's possible, because right now they can do it, but it will be, not so clean in terms of further maintenance and upgrades. Once it is isolated in extension, then it's much easier to upgrade and maintain your store running. ScandiPWA does has upgrade path, so we are backward compatible. Major releases, they require certain features to be updated, but as such, it's built on the certain core theme that stands stacked. Okay, Alex, what do we have in terms of questions? If that's it, then we meet next week probably. Yeah, so just to recap. So what did we learn today? Hopefully I could shed some light on what is progressive web app, how does it bring performance by removing the need of sending heavy stuff over internet to your mobile or desktop and just sending the data, as well as enabling superior UX by new array of technologies, reactive technologies like reactive view on the front end. Second, we looked into ScandiPWA as a product that brings PWA to your store. PWA matters because they increase conversions, engagement, and bring superior user experience. So if you got interested, we suggest to check ScandiPWA.com, check partner section, look up a partner or contact us for a recommendation. Case studies, there are small companies who are successfully running ScandiPWA, and generally, how to say, small companies, they have business demands, but sometimes they do not have enough high load to really put a product to a challenge. So we are proud to feature one of such cases with a load of 500 requests per second, up to 2 million SKUs, 35 store views, stores, websites in Magento, 87 offline stores with a real-time stock sync, frequent price updates, having gained SEO rankings since launch and conversion rate. So questions about new themes. We are currently keep working on this theme. Recently we have moved navigation into tabs, tab navigation. We saw it, well, it engages more users, so we followed the best practice. And well, see you next Thursday. We surely have some exciting news to share with you, and look forward for your questions. Please use submit a question form that you see in the sign up box. Thank you very much for your attention. See you next week.